continue with our last presentation. Y vamos a continuar en castellano.
Let's do it in Spanish.
I'd
like to invite
Mayte
Sancho and Gerardo Amunarriz from Matia Foundation in the Basque Country. We heard, after so much theory, after so many ideal stories, now we're going to go down to the nitty-gritty of the practice, the daily life. What does it mean to manage and to lead an integrated care organization or an integrated care program? Gerardo, your turn.
¿Se oye bien?
Can you hear me? Good afternoon. The truth is, it's a real challenge. At this time of day, after such a long day, and after the brilliant speakers that preceded me, at the same time, I feel comfortable.
Has to be here, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's fine, it's fine. Sí.
And it's a great luck to have the opportunity to be here. The provincial government of Gipuzkoa and the program invited us to be here, and we're very happy to have launched this program and to share with you the Etxean Bizi program. I'd like to thank the social workers who are helping so much in the success of this program.
El proyecto Etxean Bizi
the project Etxean Bizi is inscribed in the Etorkizuna Eraikiz. We are various agents in the system, and we are cooperating, we're sharing, we're doing the open innovation, thanks to our institutions. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to be alone and to go over the limits and constraints of our own organizations. We want to test, to experiment, and to try new things, and from there to extract knowledge, and after that to replicate it and transform it into a more explicit type of knowledge. In my presentation, what we'll do today is to separate it into two parts. I'll speak about the organizational approach, what is this cultural change that is underway, the Etxean Bizi project, so that people can stay at home as much as possible with well-being, if possible, with the integration of various services, with case management, social, health, volunteer services, that is, so that people can stay at home where they want to live in a sustainable way. So I'll speak about this cultural change, this cultural shift and the organizational change so that we can put up with this challenge, and then we'll see a video, 2 minutes, to explain the project, and Mayte Sancho, the planning director, will speak about the care elements. In order to put it in a framework and to contextualize this challenge, I think it's important to take into account what's happening in today's society. More and more, people are more individualistic. The situation is that we need to customize, to have a society that is more and more demanding, with more requirements, with more needs. The human anthropology is relational, but we have a collateral effect that is positive. Personalization allows us to better know people. After these formal roles, after stratifying, we see effects like quality of life, well-being, nuances, details, little things, cognitive needs, a series of needs that are not explicit, they are latent. But this contact, this closeness to the person, allow us to better know people around us. We get to know people because we are individualized, we personalized service. This is a major challenge, the need to respond to this changing environment we go to the nitty-gritty, to the detail. We have some specific needs. It's a high level of personalization. It requires flexibility, something that we don't have today. We need more adaptation. And we've reviewed various organizational models that could help us and could respond to our needs here. There was, in fact, a couple of models that were a benchmark for us. It was the starting point. One is linked to dynamic abilities. From Thies, Schuen and Pisano, 1997. That's the paper. It's really interesting. There's one in 27. There are 3 dynamic abilities. Sensing, this is linked to analysis. A second one, seizing, that's a structuration, how we give shape, how we integrate this. And the third one is reconfiguring, implementation. We analyze, we look for needs, we get organized between the various agents and stakeholders, and we then implement, but in a dynamic way because our environment is changing. Another approach that was mentioned by the first 2 speakers with different perspectives is the organizational dexterity. So this organizational theory, it comes from March in 1991. These 2 realities that we find in all relations. There's a reality that is more linked to provision and exploitation. It's a logic that is more mechanistic of results. We can measure, we can use, we can exploit. And there's another one linked to exploring, creativity, analyzing, etc. But both need each other. How do we integrate these 2 sides? So we have a dynamic reality with these 3 qualities that are pivoting. And there's another one which is related to capacities, skills. How do we mix this up? Linked to our projects and or the various projects that we launched, especially Etxean Bizi, we wanted to apply an inductive process, a research process like CSI. We'll go to look at the reality and we extract what's working and what's not working, trying to identify those elements that are really working and those that are not working for us. After a big process, 167 categories came up, and then we reduced that figure to 9. We have an external environment, an internal environment in our organization, in the way we organize care. We have a community reality. We need to identify various agents from various organizations. And then the perimeter that we can observe. There is a reality that's connected with this external environment. Here we have people, and here we could mention planning and case management. The key here, and I'm not going to elaborate, but the key here is exploration, analysis, identifying needs, the latent needs, the underlying needs so that people can live better. Then policies and systems that are open. Policies have a goal to avoid opportunism, individualism, and open systems are containers of knowledge and information so that people that need to work and case manage and to coordinate with others can access this knowledge. And the third one is about delegating and governing. How can we delegate the decision-making process? Devolving decisions and what is expected from these people. In Lambidestreza, we had a specialist reality, and then little by little we are in a holocratic organization model. Another reality, this is linked with the learning ability, the experiential skill. It's more linked to the person, it's intrinsic to the individual. What is key is the intention and comprehension too. What is key is to have a certain autonomy and above all the fluctuation by Nonaka, touch, interaction, exchange, conversation. We can generate problems and look for solutions after observation. When we do it in a collective way, this is flowing in a much effective way. Another category that we identified, and here the key elements are case managers, is about style and communication that allows us to relate to people, empowerment, participation, communication, with the same style. It's fundamental for case management. Then people should be at the center. We have formal and informal structures. Formal structures are homogeneous. We need order. But informal structure, as we saw with people, personalization, people identifying their needs, well, we need to know more. What is beyond the formal role? The same happens within our organizations or between the people who are offering or providing care. We need to see people and the people that are behind the patient. So this has to be linked with our communicational style, and this would allow to build capacity. As the previous speaker said, we need to have a mission, common mission, a service mission, key objectives towards this external environment. We need values. The ACP gives values, especially dignity, that's intrinsic to each person. And last but not least, and something that is frequently mentioned in interviews and focus groups, is linked to the collective side, the we, the collective I, how we generate cohesion and unity, this culture that we aim at. What happens? As we see in the dexterity, we have different logics. In green, well, there's three categories is linked to provision, to exploitation of data. And the logic here is about efficiency and productivity, as an explicit knowledge that is coded, where we can really measure outcomes. It's quantitative measuring. There's another logic linked to different skills with competencies about learning how to learn, generating new knowledge, new expertise and exploring. And the third one, and without this, dexterity would be useless. It's about another type of skills, collective competencies. It's about integration and unity. If we see the reasons behind, and it's underneath of this in small letters, there are extrinsic motives. Reward comes from outside. Intrinsic motives, that's the challenge to learn how to overcome problems, cognitive command, but there are other motives that go beyond the person. It's the value of the common good, the value of collectiveness. This is transpersonal, giving value to community, giving value to the group. I'm part of that, I'm contributing to. It's about the recognition of the person with a common goal. This allows us to integrate diversity by generating an inclusive culture. From this inclusive culture and a participatory style, we can generate more abilities. Through case management and through coordination, these abilities can be used. From the other side, from these dynamic skills for balance, there's another logic, completely different. It's about analysis, sensing, through case management, because we know each other as people, we can see our needs. And here we then set objectives and goals out of these needs. Then we have common goals. We need to prioritize what is the intrinsic, the extrinsic, and then the participatory style through information and deep knowledge and deep, clear policies. We can structure and integrate all this in order to implement it in practice through a cooperative culture. A formal structure that allows us to be efficient, but at the same time a reality that is really inclusive, that allows you to integrate various outlooks and various thoughts. This could lead us to balance or to adaptation. But having said this, when trying to tackle this change, after many observations, it seems to us that we can put in place different strategies. A clear one is to start with the green boxes. Let's change the formal system. What happens normally? There's fright, there's fear, there's resistance, reluctance. People want to escape. People don't change ourselves. We change ourselves as we decide to change. And for this, what is in yellow, the comprehension, understanding, learning, synergies, that's the yellow part. In order to tackle a cultural change, For an integration and for a sustainable development, we need the yellow part with a more equitable systems. We need to develop the cooperation skills to be more in a collective, in a cooperative setting, and generate knowledge that is linked to sensing, to learn how to learn, and then we can change the formal part with these three elements.
¿Sí? Eskerrik asko. No se oye, ¿no? Sí.
Eredu hau pertsonan oinarrituta dagoenez, pertsona hori ezagutu egin behar dugu. Eta horretarako, mendekotasuna dutenez, ezinbestekoa izaten ari da etxe bizitzetara jutea. Eta ez hori bakarrik, etxe bizitzan baitare ikusten dugulako nun dauden. Esan, informazio asko ematen digu, laguntzen digu pertsona ere atzetik ezagutzea. Laguntzen digu baita ere zaintzaile informal eta formalak ere ezagutzea eta haien iritzia ere jakitea. Eta hori beharrezkoa da gero erantzun egoki bat emateko. Azkenean erronketako bat edo hasi nahi dugun ibilbide berrietako bat da, adibidez komunitate mailan sensibilizazio bat sortu nahi da, komunitatea jabetu dadin bakoitzak edo gauza txikiekin egin daitezkela helburu handiak. Orduan bai elkarteak, herriko elkarteak, bai eta profesional, arlo desberdinetako profesionalak, komertzio txikiak edo farmaziko langileak ere, blisterrak eta horrelako gauza zerbitzu desberdinak gaur egun ematen ez dien zerbitzu desberdinak eskaintzen, eredu berri honen bitartez guzti hori ere horrea ere iritsi nahi da. Nik uste erronka badala, beharrezkoa dala eta pasu bat gehiago eman behar dala. Ez dugula bakarrikan pertsona edo zaintzailearen arretan gelditu behar, arreta osoago bat izan behar dula eta aruntzago bajun behar dela. Eta lan hori ere egin nahi dugu, horretan gabiltza.
Sí, yo quiero seguir viviendo en mi casa mientras pueda. Porque tengo mis recuerdos aquí, tengo mi hija que es deficiente también y la amparo mucho yo. Todos estos pueden venir, pero no es... Yo me levanto si está destapada, taparle o... Ahora vamos a estar con la madera, déjala la madera, ya casi la ropería.
Muchísimas gracias a los
Thank you very much to the survivors that have stayed with us this long, and especially I have a claim
ese precioso libro que se
that
llama
beautiful
Lo pequeño es
book,
hermoso.
What Small is Beautiful. That's the title in the literal translation, because this is what they have, the small of it, the small part of it, what's daily life, and it has to do with 3 average municipalities in Gipuzkoa's region. And as it's been said before, this is a project that has been promoted by the regional government and again by all 3 municipalities, as well as the Deusto University, which will be in charge of part of this cost-effectiveness study. And so after such an impressive morning and impressive afternoon as well, just let me tell you that the essence of this project is in this piece of paper that you will be given. It is bilingual, and there you can have an explanation and detailed explanation of the methodology. This is a research project, and so this is the approach that we have, which I feel very much, well, we don't have time for it, but I do have a few comments, take-home messages, that is, very close close to limitations, analysis, framework, feature, and all of this that from the social approach we also consider. It is true. It's needless to say that we still the minor partners to the healthcare system. And from the social side, concern is huge because there are some things that we've seen or we've seen on the screen. First, people who need help, as we all know, they still need and want to live at their place, at their home or regular setting. It is true that the time and intensity of dependence grows day by day. We are and need to keep on investigating for a long time to see if comorbidities meet the prospects or not. But reality is that we live in a high dependency or a high dependent environment with greater intensity. And now in southern countries, there is something specific about us, which I would say that in the case of the Basque country is even more intense than elsewhere, and that's the presence, powerful presence of family care. Amazing, shocking. If I have an extra minute, I can share some data, which somehow gives a nuance to the intervention programs, integrated care programs, because there's this third, rather fourth stakeholder, usually a female. So instead of an actor, it will be an actress, and these are female caregivers. Needless to refer to the increase in loneliness. So when we talk about 85 years of age, we're talking about 40% of people who live on their own, and some of them are dependent, and they tend to be women. 7 out of 10, they are women. Which means that we need to review the caregiving model that we have nowadays. And I dare say that luckily we've managed, well, rather there is a discussion yet. We are trying to understand this long transition from a social protectionist public system that we've advocated for so many years and still it's advocated to an organization of new formulae for building what we could call the caring society. So it's not just the public system, but right now, sustaining care and make sure that they are not just supported by relative caregivers implies so many other actions beyond that of social and health services. And this is all part of the framework of sustainability of our social protection system that nowadays is now being tense because it's now right before the election time. So the goals for the project, I think it's clear what the goals are. We need to reapproach this support and aid model, and we need to rethink it with coordination with social and health services, and also in the community, in professionals with little or low qualifications, such as personal assistants or housekeepers and domestic service. Many environments where they need to be present so that highly dependent people can stay at home. We are talking about grade 2, 3, according to our law. We need to move forward in an integrated care model that is people-centered, which is very difficult, and I'll explain that. And we need to identify those integration formulas through coordination. We all know there are several different integration models, but we've chosen, and the Basque country has chosen, a coordination-based model. And we have the case manager profile, we have community-based and volunteer-based activities. So this is active aging, not just for people who are very fit. It is pointless. I think it is time now to discuss active aging, and so that we all take out the streets, including everyone with dementia and those who have a high level of dependency. And we also need evidence on the cost-effectiveness ratio for the model. Just a few comments on the main elements, the protagonists, because, well, this is mainly women, we have to say, but there are some men. We're talking about the sample, 180 people, with the control and the trial group, around 83 years of age, over 3 chronic diseases, and high incidence of cognitive impairment, and they use, and they're right. They think right of the health system. They feel cared for, not so much so cared for by the social system as it makes sense, because this is quite unequal. They have problems, and again, let me highlight, this is a core problem. I feel everywhere, but especially here, and when we talk about mid-sized municipalities, there we have accessibility problems in and outside of the home, and serious ones. Sometimes they also have independence problems. They're victims of the overprotection of the caregivers. Funny, but it's worth saying. And they just want what's the small part of it. That's what I said when I started, that what's small is beautiful. Because when we started out this project, logically, we always get some reluctance. Yeah, sure, you're going to provide many services, people will be happy, but it's unsustainable. Well, it is true, we need services and they need to be implemented, but people ask for very small things. They ask for going out to the street, meeting their friends, and playing cards, or just go to church. That's what they want to do. Staying in connection with the previous life. And I think it's very important. In the previous presentations, they both highlighted that people are not just a disease or a condition. And we don't care for conditions. That's what healthcare professionals are for. But we care for people. And that's why we are trying to offer integrated care to all of them. And so there's a second half of it where we have protagonists, very much the leading characters. Those are the caregivers, mainly female, and around 60 to, well, 60 when they are daughters, to as old as you can think of, as wives, caregivers or husband caregivers, around 80 to 85 years of age. With high satisfaction, as reported, concerning, because we need to work on that. Their feeling of reciprocity is amazing, to the extent that they want to care for. They find it is a duty, and they feel they are satisfied with it. And we find there is quite an overload. That woman on the clip was a caregiver, and she is a caregiver, she's a woman. And I said, I can take it all, because at some other point at the interview she said so. Well, she cannot. Obvious. So we need to work on it so very much, because we have a population which is mainly female population, engaged and committed to caregiving, and they are ending their lives like that. So we, the public administration, we need to be obliged to help them and complement their care, because that would be one of the essences of care integration beyond what we all know. And it is seen with quite an impact in their family stability. And then professionals. We describe professions and professionals. We have a wonderful case manager in Renteria, full of energy. And we've met some professionals who have, well, we're talking about social workers. We're now playing that role where they are case managers. They could also be nurses, but this is a project coming from the other fields of expertise. And they feel there is a lack of coordination with social health services, and that's the first thing we tackled. An overload and a diversity and multiplicity of responsibilities, which sometimes prevents them from focusing on people, and that just task focus, because tasks are so variegated, so very many, and we don't have time to focus on people anymore. We are just a task-focused culture. And there is this feeling of powerlessness because of everything that goes on in daily life when there's dependence. This idea of streamlining the time of need and the time of help, it is difficult, very difficult, but this is one of the goals that we cannot forget about. It is a significant challenge, so when someone needs care at 8 a.m., we need to make sure that they don't get it at noon, because there we see a frustrating impairment for everyone, especially for themselves. There's a high commitment with case managers, as we saw on the video. And there is a development which I would call SCARS, and also SCARS trust in the volunteer and community action. I would say this is our greatest challenge, getting there, but it is taking us some effort and time, and also recognition by everyone who's part of the project. They've seen that any caregiver who is at home, whether they are professional housekeeper, personal assistant, caregiver, in any case, they need to be accompanied and they need to be trained. I would say accompanied, because I feel that's best. And then let me quote, because I'm out of time, but here we have some intervention, or fields of interventions. We're working on first social and health coordination. I dare say, and some people in the room can document that if we go down to the small part of it, when we go down towards the daily life, we get rid of those coordination problems. It's way easier. There's been no mistakes. There's been also case meetings, joint meetings, shared meetings, and it all works without huge structures. Naturally, there's been an increase in services, and there's been a few services which we would see are a novelty, as trying that temporary stays in nursing homes for the weekend or for several weeks. We thought that even though there is no evidence that they truly are detrimental for those people, when there is cognitive impairment, they are very disoriented as they leave. So we are trying to work on those stays with personal assistants at home. So it's home-based, family can leave or caregivers can leave, but at the same time, we don't disorient those people anymore. So psychological support at home and everything else. Then what about settings and environment? Again, it's been discussed. It's amazing, amazing. And then the small wishes, as we call them, that I mentioned and touch upon, but let me highlight once again. Street belongs to everyone, and those who suffer even more, because when they get out, they rediscover those times that they had not lived for 4 or 5 years. So we found people who for 4 or 5 years haven't left their home, and that's important. And I'm about to finish here with challenges and well, I had this other comment, if you don't mind. The great challenges up on the screen. First one is that all public administrations need to be engaged and committed, because here we live in a country where there is a, how do I put it, a diversity in the competences, which makes things a bit more difficult sometimes. We do need to harmonize and streamline those cultures, organizational and discipline cultures, because they're very different. Social system, health system, chronicity, dependence, all of that we're aware of. We need to reformulate this care model and also case management. We should not be scared, because this is for the 5% that I mentioned earlier on. So those people who are complex in the sense that they have complex cases. So it's not for everyone. Do not discredit that it's a bulletproof solution, because we will not cover it all. And the care model, Victoria, I'm about to finish here, this integrated, people-centered care model, I think it takes us to what's so difficult about about customization, paying attention, and identifying preferences of everyone. And so all of that, it takes time. Oftentimes, we've heard it throughout today, time and meaningful activities, not just childish activities, known unchosen activities, and no to unwanted activities for people. What's the small detail, that's what matters, that's what's meaningful, and that's what we need, and that's what will build on what we are using now as a concept, a caring society that is accountable and kind to everyone. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias a Mayte.
Thank you very much, Mayte,
por este ejemplo precioso
for your beautiful example
que te muestra cómo se puede
that proves how we can translate theory into practice, and that explains what people-centered care truly means. It is late already, so we're running late. But I have a question. What's your opinion about this duality? Manager-leader duality. We need it just in one person? Should it be two different people? What do you think? What's your take here? Can you hear me?
Pues la verdad es que no tengo respuesta para eso.
There's no answer, to be honest.
Creo que hay que interpretar.
I guess we need to interpret. So in order to have an answer, which is a coherent one, we will truly need to know that setting and abilities and community reality, resources. It is all a system. What we wanted with this 9-class or category model, we wanted to understand that it is all interconnected, it's all intertwined. If any of these classes moves around, all other 8 need to adjust. If the outside setting moves, it fluctuates, the inside one needs to do so as well. I guess, well, both previous speakers or panelists, if you realize it, they had divergent opinions. Misma referred to an integration, right? So this is an integrating concept, skills in the field of probing and using leadership and delivery. The second speaker referred to, well, you see, it is to be seen, it ain't clear. So we are more for engagement, teamwork, community work. Roles move around depending on the time, the problem situation, the abilities, they vary. So I feel that an enabling leadership, producing those spaces or rooms where we can engage and share is much more interesting. Okay, thank you very much.
And with this, I'd like to say thank you to everyone. Thank you also to the people who are still here. And I would like to conclude this session just with one quote from a French philosopher. All change seems impossible, but once accomplished, it is the state we are no longer in that seems impossible. Todo cambio parece imposible, pero una vez logrado es el estado que hemos dejado atrás que parece imposible. And with that, I want to thank also the translators who do an amazing job. Enjoy your evening. Buenas tardes y hasta mañana.